Right, I watched Alien Earth and got to the last episode and watched that last night, which is the Alien TV show, which I predicted from the moment it was announced it was going to be woke SJW trash. And I have been vindicated in that assumption, although I have seen some YouTubers I watch like V and Tony from Hack the Movies saying they didn't think it was SJW or woke, and it definitely was. There are some good things in there, I will say that. Episode 5 is especially good because it takes place on a Nostromo look-alike ship, and they got the sets very well done for that. It looks just like the original ship in many ways, although when they're in Mother, I seem to remember in the Mother computer, when you're trying to read the text on the screen, you just can't read it because there's like reflections all over the screen, and there's a really tiny screen, and even if you squint, you can't read what the fucking text is. So I don't know what that's for. It's like expecting you to have a giant cinema screen just so you can see the text. That's stupid. But yeah, most of the sets are pretty good. The show gets off to a bad start immediately because they're talking about, oh, it's all about people on Earth want immortality, and they're doing this by by building 3 different types of robots, and was it cyborgs, synths, and something else, synthetics, I guess, I don't know. And it gets off to a bad start because the entire show has this group of children who are transplanted into robot adult bodies. So the entire show is following, like, I can't remember if it's 6, I think it's 6 of these synths, they're calling them, which are like meant to be, oh, well, these are new synthetics, they're even better than all the synthetics you've seen before. We don't need any of those, we really don't. And like in the real Alien saga, which is 1 to 4, you just had 2 kinds of synthetic. You had the synthetics, and you had the Autods, I think they're called, which is represented by Call, where in the far, far future, because obviously Ripley's a time traveler, she keeps waking up in the far, far future, the synthetics, I don't know if they've been replaced or if there's this other faction called the Autods who went through a robot revolution against the humans and burnt their modems, which sounds a bit like the kind of weird bra burning thing in feminism, so that's slightly dodgy. But if you consider burning modems as some other thing that is not connected to the context of real human history, then it's fine. But yeah, it starts off pretty SJW. The way people are acting, all the characters, is pretty SJW, but you get introduced to a few interesting characters. The Boy Cavalier character, through all of the series except for the end of the last episode, is a really good character. The white-haired chaperone synthetic who chaperones the newer synths is played by Timothy Oliphant, and he's pretty good all the way through, but he's just very deadpan, stone-faced, like just follows orders from his boss. Boy Cavalier, who represents one of 3 corporations. I think there's 5 corporations actually, but you only see like 2 of them, which is Weyland-Yutani and Prodigy. Obviously they want to continue the TV show so they can just show you more of the corporations, I guess. And so Weyland-Yutani in this is annoying because it's they're focusing more on Yutani, which is good. It's okay that they picked a woman to play the Yutani character. It's bad that they don't at all reference the Weyland family, the Weyland partnership of the corporation. So they're just showing the Japanese side, which is pretty cool. They have these Japanese guards, they have these weird Japanese skyscrapers and hairstyles and stuff. But I mean, you still don't get much of an understanding of the corporation, and you don't get an idea of how manipulative and evil they are. They just sent out a spacecraft like the Nostromo, and you don't know when the show takes place either. You don't know if it's like before Alien or after Alien or after Alien Resurrection, or you don't know when the fuck it's meant to be. So that's really annoying. I just have to assume it's somewhere near the first Alien, but at the same time it's really strange how they just like magically get a xenomorph on a different ship that's like the Nostromo, and it's already at Earth. So that's just, I don't think that should happen. I think it was something they found with difficulty far off in space, and Nostromo's really the only one. I don't even like the alien isolation thing, like, oh, there's another xenomorph just after Ripley got rid of the first one. Like, I prefer the storyline where Ripley's the one who finds the xenomorphs and no one else is really finding them except her. It's all like her encounters with this, basically this creature that's following her through time, and it's like following specifically her for the most part, and it's originating from this one planet, and it's space jockeys, not engineers. So the Prometheus and Alien Covenant ruined the space jockey by making it into these engineer characters, which are just tall white humanoids. Really annoying. They should be giant elephantine, incomprehensible creatures like the alien itself. If you're interested in that, go and watch my Alien 5, what do you call it, pitch, my pitch and step outline for a script for Alien 5, which would take place after Alien Resurrection, and kind of resolve that series in a dark way. Also, yeah, it's meant to be, the whole Alien series is meant to be not childish, it's meant to be disturbing, it's not meant to be flippant, it's meant to be horrifying, it's meant to be bleak, it's not meant to have any happy endings, and this show has like a happy ending to it for, I mean, if you're rooting for the main character group, which I'm not. And oh my god, that last episode was so terrible. One of the worst examples of communist propaganda that I've seen, I think, in fictional TV shows. But yeah, you're going through, and there are some good things, and the good things come from, like, Miss Yutani sends out her Weyland-Yutani Nostromo-like ship with a cyborg black guy character in it who's pretty good, sends them out into deep space. Somehow they get not only a xenomorph, which I think is impossible, and they shouldn't have done that, shouldn't have been able to do it, but they also get a bunch of eggs of xenomorphs, and they get tons and tons of other random parasite creatures. I think there's like 5 other ones that they get, which consists of little tick bugs, flies that eat robots, a plant, a carnivorous plant, an eyeball that is very clever. They're saying it's smarter than humans, and so Boy Cavalier thinks he's a really smart millionaire kid. So his quest is to try and find someone who he thinks is as smart as him to talk to, and he can't find it human-wise, so he's trying to find an alien that can combine with humans or create an android or something like that to have a conversation with him on his level when he's not dumbing himself down for the people around him, which I think that's a really interesting concept. And they don't follow it through. They don't, like, right at the end you think he's gonna finally get the eyeball creature, which is the smartest creature he's found, to like combine parasitically with a human, I think, so that it can talk and he can have a conversation with it, and he'll have found an intelligence that's on his level. And they're about to do that right at the end of the last episode, and then they don't. And it's really annoying because everything was kind of leading up to that, and then they don't do it, and they just go full SJW. Yeah, so at the very start of the show, you get to see a tiny bit of the Nostromo-like storyline. They call it the Maginot, this ship, where it's caught all the parasitic organisms for Weyland-Yutani, and then the cyborg black dude's quest is to crash the ship into Earth so that Miss Yutani can get all the organisms. So they show a few of the crew things there, and then the guy has an escape from the alien, and then he crashes the ship into planet Earth. The problem is he crashes it into a part of planet Earth ruled by a different corporation that isn't Weyland-Yutani, which is the Prodigy Corporation, owned by this child prodigy, Boy Cavalier, which is a weird name. So they crash in his territory. So there's really interesting stuff about property, and there's even a corporate, there's a really good scene where the corporations have a meeting and have an argument over property and who owns what and when they're getting their stuff back, which I think is really interesting. And I would have loved an entire show devoted to that part of Weyland-Yutani. Like, I love the idea of the Earth is owned by 5 corporations, because that's like Blade Runner. Blade Runner did that to begin with, and for them to do it here, like they just had a great opportunity to get into the politics and machinations and logistics of like how are these, because the way they showed it was really interesting. Like the 5 corporations are running Earth, but they're running Earth peacefully, and they occasionally meet up for little debates about like, this is how you're running things, this is how we're running things, we'll trade some stuff, we're sort of adversarial, we're competing with each other for masses of money and I guess power over more territory on Earth, but we're doing it like as amicable trade negotiations and stuff, and we also got little ulterior motives and snarky things that we're doing on the side. I fucking love that bit. I think that should be an entire show of its own. Fuck what they've done with the, like, I hate the child androids. I think they should just kill them off immediately, but they're trying to make them into the hero characters, and they're also an allegory for trans people, I've noticed. The SJWs who've made this show, the commies who've made this show, think that those child robot characters are themselves, and they are injecting like context from the outside world politics of real life here into the show, which I fucking hate when shows do that. I mean, that's making shows political, and yeah, they really go heavy-handed on it in the last episode. They also, every time, well, the alien that they use, the xenomorph, is like a hunk of fucking plastic. It doesn't drool enough for a start. You can't tell if it's black or if it's brown. It keeps changing color all the fucking time. It looks like a hunk of fucking plastic every time they show it. Except in the Nostromo-ish episode 5, where it looks kind of black, but they overuse it visually. You see it too much visually, and it keeps doing these weird wavy dance things, and it looks stupid. At one point it has a fight with the eyeball, and I thought, the eyeball parasite is going to try and get in the alien and they'll create this hybrid creature. But then I wondered if they were going to do that because the alien doesn't have eyes. It's got this big aspic head, and behind it it's got an empty eye-socketed skull thing. So I wondered if the eyeball could even blend with it. In the end they didn't do that, and it might be good that they didn't do that. It blended with a human though. And at the end, they just use the eyeball to make a character who they've killed off alive again, which is stupid. Like, all the characters you think are gonna die just live, and then all the like unimportant sidekick characters and stuff die, and they preserve like all the villains they had, and they preserve all the so-called good guys they have. So the only people who really die are on the like Nostromo-ish ship. Like, all of that crew die except the black dude. The so-called main character is really annoying. Really, like, that she does it. They make her talk like this synthetic who talks to aliens, and that they shouldn't have done that at all. So basically, they've got a main character feminist with a dumb haircut, who's a child, who's trans, who's saying horrific things all the time. At one point, she's like, let's round up all the grown-ups, and I just knew from that point on this is commie propaganda bullshit, and it's an allegory for how they're doing things in real life to try and erase tradition and destroy people in the past and their views so they can insert progressivism without any purpose. So it's a real world allegory. I think Boy Cavalier is like an allegory for Elon Musk in many ways, and for just random corporation head as well. Yeah, so you get that, the parasite things are good. I like the idea that the fly creatures only attack synthetics and robots. As for their design, it's a bit shit. You know, they spit out their enzymes on the face of the androids, and it just melts their face off and kills them fairly instantaneously in a horrific way. So you think like the androids are invulnerable for a while until that happens, and then you think, oh, there's one thing that can kill them, and it's these flies. Nothing else can kill them, and they've made them super strong and super fast children. And it's just an allegory for trans people, because they capture all the interesting characters and round them up into a room at the end and go, haha, we've defeated you, now you're our prisoners. We're keeping you alive for some fucking reason, but we're better than you, and we've won, and we control the aliens, and we control your island, and happy ending for commies. It's really fucking annoying. There is weird that there's like a mother woman who has like an age gap relationship with another scientist, where she's a cougar and he's like really young and she's really old. But I know this mother woman is meant to be an allegory for someone in real life, but I can't pin what archetype in real life she's meant to represent. Like, is it the older Jermaine Greer type of feminist? Is it meant to be a TERF? Is it meant to be a scientist who makes a choice that the commies disagree with? I'd have to watch it again to try and pin what she's meant to be an allegory for in real life. Because after that last episode, I'm just fully aware that the whole thing is just a metaphor for real life political world bullshit viewed from the lens of an absolute insane, insufferable SJW socialist or feminist. Ah, my god. And the last episode just, I don't know how you can't see it. And when they overly light the alien really bright, as well as it being a hunk of plastic, they show too much of it. They light it really bright. It's running around in the jungle. Most of the things in the show look like they're from an alien film, except for the jungle, which I guess is meant to be like a Predator film. But it's too overexposed. It's also too oversaturated. Like, the colours are way too bright of the leaves in the jungle. It just looks stupid. The childishness throughout the show that's meant to be an adult show is also just stupid and terrible all the way through. The fake heart-to-heart conversations, the fake social stuff between the child characters is dumb. Every single bit of it is just atrocious. And it's like, yeah, I know there was Newt in the second Alien film who was a child character, but she was like this, there shouldn't be a child in a horrific situation like this. That was the thing with her. And the kind of works with them, the motherhood metaphors, which are all throughout the Alien series. The whole thing's like about motherhood. And yeah, I just hated all the childlike conversations between all those characters. There's an annoying Indian guy who gets whispered to through wireless by the black cyborg across like multiple countries, like a phone call that's happening in his head, and he orders him to do things. It's basically, you know, the scenes in the first series of 24 where Gaines is in Jack Bauer's head telling him what to do all the time and making him do shady stuff. It's basically that, just repeated again, except for trying to catch a xenomorph to send it back to Weyland-Yutani off this island that they call Neverland. And they keep doing poetry and like quotes from like Peter Pan and talking about Neverland spliced through the show, and it's really annoying when those happen. There's like an old white man father figure henchman guy to Boy Cavalier who's shown to be another synthetic, like the white-haired guy, and they treat his character like shit. They reveal him to be this old model synthetic who's quite dangerous, and who Boy Cavalier got to kill his father for some reason. It's not clear why, they never explain it. So he's like a replacement father who's a synthetic, and they make him out to be like, this guy's gonna be a super strong android, and as soon as he's revealed to be an android, they just make the annoying bob haircut Wendy hero character trans idiot like paralyze him instantaneously before you get to see what he can do out of nowhere. And it's just Mary Sue-isms. Like, they make this Wendy character just so annoying with the Mary Sue stuff. They make her super powerful so nothing can defeat her. They make her talk to the aliens, and every time she talks to the aliens she looks uglier and uglier. They keep overusing this close-up, which is just her eyes there and her mouth, of her like for 5 seconds going, and it's maybe like, oh, look how beautiful this supermodel is, look how beautiful this actress we've cast is, we're gonna put her in loads of other communist stuff that we're cooking up, she's gonna be such a famous woman after this, like. And it's just like, no, every time she does it she looks ugly. She looks ugly with the haircut. Her behaviour is ugly. The way she acts towards other people gets progressively more ugly the closer it gets to the end episode of the show, where it's just all out, this is a disgusting character. I think she's meant to be some sort of lesbian love idol. I think they're trying to build her up to the audience to market her to both trans and lesbians as some sort of character that they want to fuck. But to me, you know, she's just like super ugly every time they add to her storyline or make her do anything. Yeah, trying to think of other shit that's happened. Yeah, they kill off the male scientist guy in the cougar relationship, the age gap relationship with the old mother lady who you can't really work out who she's meant to be an allegory for. They kill him off with a chest burster, another thing that Weyland Yutani can capture back off the island. But then he's lying on a beach and you keep seeing his corpse, and then you see his corpse a second time. Like, God, man, I just think, man, they really want to not kill off this character that they've just killed off. And this is a trope of woke SJW shows all the time, is they refuse to be able to kill off their characters. They want multiverses and stuff, so that, like, oh, we're going to kill off Iron Man now. It's going to be amazing. We'll have an amazing death, and it's going to be really meaningful and sentimental. We'll have loads of sentimental people crying that Iron Man's died or whatever, and then we'll bring him back to life again in some way. Oh, there's a multiverse version. You know, they keep doing this thing where they have all sorts of shows and they fake kill off a character and then they bring them back to life again. Like, nobody can die. It's impossible for an SJW to write a character that dies permanently. I think they're afraid of that in real life, that they, you know, so they're trying to write a lot of fiction where characters they like can never die. And they keep coming back. They're just unkillable and everyone's immortal. And yeah, so they kill off this guy. It focuses on his corpse. We cut away to some other shit. It comes back to his corpse. The xenomorph comes around and sniffs it. Goes away again. We cut to some other talking shit. It cuts back to the corpse and I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing? Why do we keep seeing this corpse on the beach? It's done with. He's dead. Leave him alone. And then the fucking eyeball parasite gets in the corpse and revives him, and he gets up like a zombie and he starts walking around again. So the super intelligent eyeball is in a host. So basically this character you've killed off is still alive in some form. You had to do it. You couldn't just leave him dead on the beach. They should have left him dead on the beach, but they couldn't have done it. And it just pisses me off when they do things like this. Like, they can't get over these problems. They're like NPCs. SJW film writers and TV writers are just NPCs. Like, you know their entire ideology. You can predict what they're going to do and what they're going to say from a playbook that, you know, the right and the centre already know about them, that we found out over the years. You know, you're going to talk about trans, you're going to be talking about transhumanism as well, you're going to talk about climate, you're going to talk about, oh, we think these people are capitalists. They're not capitalists at all, by the way. There's no capitalism in this show. There's corporate fascism, you could say. It's not even fascism, though, because there's no government. Fascism is the alliance of corporations with government. There are corporations being governments. There is statism, and there is corporatism. You could say there's fascism if you decide that one of the corporations is a government and that they're allying with other smaller corporations, but that's not really shown. It's just all the big corporations. And it's like, oh my god, it's such a confused ideology and such a predictable one. And you just watch a show and you're like, yeah, okay, this is a nice show. This is going okay. I don't see any woke stuff. Holy fuck, there's some woke stuff. It's identifiable the moment it happened. Yeah, so terrible show. Had some promise with the corporations, a couple of the parasites, and the Nostromo stuff, but just falls worse than flat. Just becomes a completely detestable, atrocious piece of propaganda. Terrible show. Nothing to do with Alien as it progresses to the end. Or regresses, shall I say. On another thing I should say, on Alien Earth, to finish the review, the music stings don't work. They keep splicing in like rock music and pop music just before the credits and into the credits. And they also play some pop music, I think, at one point in the middle of an episode. Like, between episode 1 and 4, there's one of those. And at one point, one of the tracks is like Metallica, Wherever I May Roam. And it just doesn't fit. It's so incongruent to what's happening. it's just so strange that they're just not using Alien music. You know, there's this entire score for the AVP game by Rich Ragsdale that could go to score a movie, and it's absolutely perfect. But they're just going into like pop music and rock music that has nothing to do with what's going on screen or the atmosphere of the show. Anyway, that's my little review of Alien Earth. Only watch it to laugh at it, is what I'll say, and enjoy the sets in episode 5. That's my little review of Alien Earth. Thank you for watching.